Let's start with a truth every fundraiser knows. Your donor base is a leaky bucket. Every year, some donors move, some pass away, some quietly drift off, and that's normal. It's exactly why you should always be acquiring new donors to replace that natural attrition. But here's what most plans miss. When the board asks for new revenue, the reflex is to go find new people. And in the next few minutes, I want to show you that the fastest, highest probability new revenue is usually already inside the bucket. The donors who've already shown they care, as well as how you can better manage that resource. It helps to separate two jobs we usually blur together. Job one is replacing what you naturally lose. Attrition is normal, so you always acquire new donors to keep the bucket full. That's a non-negotiable. Job two is finding genuinely new revenue, and that's where the instinct tends to misfire. We jump to strangers when the highest probability new dollars come from people who've already raised their hand. Acquisition is the most expensive, lowest odds way to grow. It's the right tool for replacement, but it shouldn't be your first move when you're hunting for new revenue. So here's the reframe. Your best prospects for new revenue have already raised their hand. They've shown interest in your mission and committed to it with a gift in the past. The relationship already exists. You don't have to manufacture it. You just can't see the opportunity yet because your file is very good at telling you how much you raised and almost useless at telling you why or who's about to change their mind. Ask most teams how they did last year and they'll give you a number to the dollar. Ask them why, which donors grew, which quietly pulled back, and the trajectory each important donor is on, and the room goes quiet. That gap matters because revenue you can't explain is revenue you can't repeat and can't protect. The total is just a scoreboard. It tells you what happened. It tells you nothing about what's about to happen. When you look under the top line, the same four patterns show up almost everywhere. First, donors about to lapse. They gave last year and not yet this year, and many are just waiting for a thank you or an ask that fits. Second, the quiet decliners. These are the dangerous ones because nothing alarming happens. They just give a little less each year. Third, recapture candidates. Lapsed donors who've already said once, and re-engaging them beats acquiring a stranger. And fourth, upgrade-ready donors. Future major gifts already in your file, giving $500 or $5,000, but capable of far more. None of these require a new donor. Let me linger on the quiet decliner because it's the most expensive blind spot in fundraising. A donor drops from $1,000 to $750 to $500 over 3 to 5 years. They've never left, they never make a scene, and because they're still on your active list and maybe still giving within a range you've defined as a tier or segment, the slide goes unnoticed until it's most of the way down. The good news, these donors are still warm. A timely personal touch often can reverse the decline before it ever becomes a goodbye, but only if you can see it happening. And to be clear, this isn't a competence problem. The best fundraisers we know are completely buried. The information exists, but it's scattered across gift records, spreadsheets, and a CRM that was built to store data, not interpret it. At least with the context that fundraisers need to act quickly, and time is their scarcest resource. Seeing who's slipping away or who's quietly ramping up, which is just as easy to miss, means tracking the trajectory each donor is on, year over year, across thousands of records every week. And nobody has time for that by hand. So teams default to the lever that's most visible and easiest to budget: acquisition. It's necessary work, But while all the attention goes to the top of the bucket, the warmest revenue keeps draining out the bottom. One quiet decline or missed growth opportunity at a time. So why doesn't this work today? Because most teams stop at the list. They pull a lapsed donor report, hand a development officer a stack of names, or put it in their queue inside the CRM, and nothing moves. Because it's just a list, not a tool. Take Jane Smith. The report says last gift $250, 13 months ago, lifetime $37.50. Nothing to act on. The same donor as an analytic tells a completely different story. A 14-year donor whose 4-year streak just broke. Declining 2 years running, 38% lapse risk, but still savable, about $1,400 of projected value if you keep her, and she usually gives in July and December. That version doesn't create a research project. It says, call her this week, and tells you why. The difference is calculated context, and that's exactly the work you don't want your officers doing by hand. So let me leave you with this. Keep filling the bucket. You have to replace what you naturally lose. But before you spend the next dollar chasing a stranger, start with the donors already inside your bucket. The ones who already raised their hand. That's exactly what RaiseTel was built to do. It reads the donor file you already have and surfaces who's about to lapse, who's quietly declining, who's worth recapturing, and who's ready to be upgraded. And then it turns it into prioritized lists of who to reach out to next. If you want to find the revenue hiding in your own file, grab the Hidden Revenue Guide. And thanks for watching.